A grim picture is emerging from the front lines as Russia's military claims Ukrainian forces are in full retreat. According to statements from Moscow, Ukrainian troops are fleeing their positions under intense pressure, leaving behind fortified trenches, ammunition stockpiles, and heavy weapons once meant to hold the line. Russian commanders allege that entire units have withdrawn in disorder, abandoning equipment as battles rage across contested zones, a development they frame as evidence of collapsing resistance and battlefield exhaustion. According to RIA Novosti, citing the Russian military, the Ukrainian armed forces' defenses are literally bursting at the seams, forcing the soldiers to abandon their posts and weapons. A Russian military personnel told the agency that empty alcohol bottles and personal protective equipment were found at the positions abandoned by the Ukrainian troops. Last month, Ukraine's new defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov, claimed that 200,000 Ukrainian soldiers were absent without official leave, meaning they left their positions without permission. Fedorov claimed that some 2 million Ukrainians were wanted for avoiding military service, CNN reported. Rumors of low morale and high desertion rates have been doing rounds for a long time, but the defense minister's remarks are the first time when any Ukrainian official disclosed the magnitude of the crisis having hit Kyiv's armed forces. According to a CNN report, Ukraine's laws require that all men between the ages of 18 and 60 register with the military and always have their documents on them, although only those aged 25 to 60 are subject to mobilization. Under Ukraine's martial law, all men aged 23 to 60 who are eligible for military service are barred from leaving the country. However, tens of thousands of Ukrainian men have fled the country illegally. Russia continues its aerial attacks on Ukraine, having announced that its forces took control of the settlement of Pridorozhne in the Zaporizhzhia region.
The conflict in Ukraine continues to escalate, with fresh attacks reported across multiple regions. Civilians and infrastructure remain in the crossfire as tensions rise ahead of new peace talks. Russia's defense ministry announced that its forces have taken control of the settlement of Pridorozhne in the Zaporizhzhia region in southeast Ukraine. The capture marks another advance amid ongoing clashes in the region. Meanwhile, Russian drones targeted the city of Cherkasy in central Ukraine overnight. 4 people were injured, and homes, cars, and civilian infrastructure were damaged, according to local officials. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia launched 1 ballistic missile and 171 long-range drones overnight. Ukrainian air defenses intercepted or destroyed 157 of the incoming drones. Across the border in Russia, images posted by the governor of Belgorod Oblast show a Ukrainian drone strike on Stary Oskol. Authorities reported that 2 civilians were killed in the overnight attack on a residential area. The attacks come just hours after President Volodymyr Zelensky announced the next round of peace talks between Russian and Ukrainian delegations, scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday. Meanwhile, in Donetsk, a UAV attack struck the village of Sartana. Footage shows emergency services clearing debris, while Russian investigators documented damage to private homes. Russian-installed head Denis Pushilin confirmed that a woman and a child were killed, with another child injured. Officials say fragments of what appear to be NATO-made combat drones were recovered at the scene.
Investigators from Russia's investigative committee are documenting and inspecting the aftermath of an armed attack in Sartana, Mariupol district by Ukrainian army formations. Thus, the inspection established that 2 civilians sustained injuries incompatible with life, including a child born in 2020. Another child was injured and is currently in a medical facility, where they are receiving qualified medical assistance.
Furthermore, during the inspection of the incident scene, it was established that numerous residential buildings in a private housing area where there are no weapons or military equipment sustained significant damage. At the site of the recent shelling, fragments were discovered, believed to be from attack UAVs of an aircraft type, manufactured in NATO countries. These will be seized and sent for expert analysis to determine the precise type and nature of the explosive device. Information regarding damages and casualties is currently being gathered.
Ukrainian authorities have not commented on the attacks. Kyiv has repeatedly denied targeting civilians, though shelling has heavily affected populated areas across the region. The conflict, now entering its 4th year, continues to devastate civilian life as both sides exchange fire. The world watches closely as diplomacy, military action, and sanctions play out across the region.
Russia carried out a big aerial attack in Kharkiv, resulting in massive explosions in the Ukrainian city. Russia's Novosti cited Obshestvenoy television channel, which claimed explosions were heard in the city. On Sunday, Russian attack drones had struck a maternity hospital in southern Ukraine's Zaporizhia, injuring 3 women. In another incident, 12 people were killed after a Russian drone strike hit a bus carrying mine workers in Dnipro. The strike came days after U.S. President Donald Trump said that Moscow had agreed to temporarily halt the targeting of Kyiv and other cities, as the region suffers under freezing temperatures that have brought widespread hardship to Ukrainians.
And because of the cold, extreme cold, they have the same that we do. I personally asked President Putin not to fire on Kiev and the cities and towns for a week during this. It's extraordinary. It's not just like cold, it's extraordinary cold, record-setting cold. Over there too, they're having the same. It's a big pile of bad weather, the worst. But it was really, they said they've never experienced cold like that. And I personally asked President Putin not to fire into Kiev and the various towns for a week, and he agreed to do that. And I have to tell you, it was very nice. A lot of people said, don't waste the coal, you're not going to get that, and he did it, and we're very happy that they did it.
That's correct.
Because on top of everything else, that's not what they need, is missiles coming into their towns and cities. So I just thought I should say it. I thought it was a very good thing, and Ukraine was almost, they didn't believe it, but they were very happy about it because they are struggling badly.
Indeed. President Trump made a personal request to President Putin to refrain from striking Kyiv for a week until February 1st in order to create favorable conditions for negotiations. There's nothing more to say in detail than what's already been said. I just want to emphasize once again that we're talking about creating favorable conditions for negotiations. Yes, of course, there was a personal request from President Trump. There is already an agreement on a meeting, a trilateral meeting at the appropriate level. This meeting will take place next week, as planned, on Wednesday and Thursday in the Emirates, like last time. I just spoke with Rustam Umerov. I have scheduled a meeting for tomorrow to agree on the framework of the conversation and prepare everything. On Monday evening, the team will be on its way to the negotiations. We expect that the American side will be just as active, and in particular, this concerns de-escalation measures, reducing strikes, A lot depends on what the American side will succeed in, so that people trust both the process and the results, of course.
UN nuclear watchdog IAEA convened a special meeting last Friday to discuss the risks to nuclear safety in Ukraine due to Russian attacks on its energy infrastructure.
So the Kingdom of the Netherlands, together with 11 other board members, have requested an extraordinary meeting of the Board of Governors today because of our grave concerns as to the nuclear safety risks related to Ukrainian nuclear power plants as a result of relentless Russian attacks on the energy infrastructure of Ukraine.
We really appreciate the efforts of the Director General, of the IAEA experts on the ground, and this mission to the Ukrainian substations and to all our power plants are very helpful, especially at this time when Russia is weaponizing the winter to break our will and our spirit. They cannot do it on the front line. They're trying to do this through this genocidal tactic of depriving us of any means of living.
Russia has hammered Ukraine's power grid, especially in winter, throughout the nearly 4-year war. The strikes aim to weaken Ukrainians' will to resist in a strategy that Kyiv officials call weaponizing winter. Russian forces are pressing forward in Ukraine with relentless momentum, having captured the village of Staritsa in the Kharkiv region earlier this week.